done before, but we are going to do this to help you learn about the 5 strategies and chat about us, like things that you are struggling with in your different parts of the strategy, which is this, and we're going to do day number 1 today, which is establish your store. Okay, we're live. Awesome. Hello and welcome. It's Jen and Elke.
Hi.
Welcome to the Profit Launch Party. We are here to party all week because, first of all, we have launched the Profit by Design Academy 8-week experience. It's live, it's going. The students in there this morning are so pumped because we gave them an incredible party to start with. Not only did we celebrate, but we also did a masterclass. We did store critiques. We talked about branding. We talked about how you can use your photography and your business as an artist to not only develop that online, but to cross promote and get clients from one and the other. We did so many things and everyone was blown away. So the students in the Profit by Design Academy know what I'm talking about because you are also in this group. And if you are not and want to be in the Profit by Design Academy, you know where to find us. But if worse comes to worse, you can go to elkeclarke.com/scale and look it up for yourself in terms of what we offer. And enrollment is shutting down soon, but we're leaving it open just for a little bit while the course is going on for this 8 weeks, in case there's some hanger-oners like maybe you who says, oh my God, what did I miss? How did I not see this? That I now need to be in this course and I need to join fast. And if that's the case, then you go to elkeclarke.com/scale and you can check out the Profit by Design Academy. You can be in there as soon as you click enroll because it's automatic. You get access to all the goodies, all the bonuses, and you get to be part of this Facebook group, which is not this one, but the actual Profit by Design Academy pop-up Facebook group specific for the May session and May and June session. And that will be something that you can access forever, including the training on Kajabi, all of the videos. And the fun part is that we are going through this experience with our students for 8 weeks and we're dripping the modules. So this week, module 1 is open. And guess what? It's called Proper Store Setup. And while they're doing their thing and doing all the training, you are missing out. So we're going to give you a little tiny bit and taste of what's going to be happening this week so that you can understand what you might be missing and might need help with. But we're going to talk about the overall high-level things as to why and what is it that, like, why is it important to have an established store? Why is it important to be, have it properly set up and do certain things in order for you to see that success? So we've got a little bit of a slideshow, not very much. This is so different than our challenges. Our challenges were interactive, but you had to do homework. In this one, we're chatting with you. We are coaching you. We are helping you get over that hurdle of what it is that you don't understand as to why, certain strategies for you are not being executed properly. So have you sent out all your stuff? Did you do all the back-end stuff?
No, the email is still sending out, so I'm waiting for an image to load, but that's okay. Keep going.
Oh, okay, because we want to get started.
Yeah,
and is that all right? Okay, so because we're staying here for an hour, this is no longer like the 2 hours plus, because we did that already. I do like to stick to time, so we're going to stick to an hour. We're going to talk to you very quickly, give you some slides, then we're going to chat. And while you're here, think of your questions. Think of what it is that you have as a question about strategy number 1, which is establish your store and make it professional. Okay, I'm going to go to the slides. And I have to switch the window in the back. Sorry. Okay, all set now. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are doing day 1 of the Profit Launch Party, which is absolutely fabulous. It's something we've never done before, but we know this is going to really help you over the next week every day, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can come here live. Otherwise, you can watch the replay and get the most out of this to help you with your Zazzle business and any other e-commerce online business. Because actually, even though we're talking about Zazzle, you can apply this to any of your other e-commerce businesses because it's business strategy. And that's why we are so successful on Zazzle, is because we actually are business coaches for online business marketing and business e-commerce, just so that you understand where we're coming from. We've made our success so far on Zazzle, but this can be applied to other places, and we are doing that. Okay, so day one, May 4th, 2 p.m., here we are. Establish your business is what the topic is for today. We are Jen and Elke Clarke. Jen's doing some stuff, telling other people, hey, we're live. So she's going to be part of the conversation. She's not ignoring you right now, but we want to welcome both you. We both have been doing this in terms of making money online through e-commerce for over 10 years, and we have been very successful. We run million-dollar online businesses, and we love being our own bosses, and we set our own hours, and we cut our own paychecks. Why? Because we're in control, and we've picked an incredibly good business model, business idea, one which goes with our framework, the perceivable, passive, profitable. And that's really important because, and I shouldn't even pick the 3 Ps because I'm having trouble today. Perceivable, passive, profitable framework. That is very, very important to have as a check to see if your business matches that, because you have to believe that it's possible. You have to be all in. You have to want to love it for years to come. You have to see that you can possibly do it and believe it. And it has to be something that is logically going to work for you. You can't make up a business and it can't perceive to be something that can be even feasible, let alone long-term. And you have to also look at all those external factors, like, is this business that I'm using as a platform going to be consistent and long-term and always be there to meet my needs, because I'm putting a lot of stake into that online platform that I'm using in order to run my own online business. And so if you can answer yes to that, then it's perceivable. Is it passive? Is it something where you can create a system and a set of structures in place, like having a ton of products on your online store that are selling for you consistently month after month, year after year? Yes, if that answer is yes, it's the yes for us, then you are doing a really great job of finding a business idea that works for you that is passive, right? You don't want to be working forever. That's why you decided to go online. Obviously, in times of coronavirus, maybe you also just want to make money and it's online, that you need to do that because you can't go out of your house. But I'm looking for not only situations where you can get money to be made for you right now, or even in the next couple of months, but we are looking long term. That's why we are so proud of the fact that we have been in this business and use this as our livelihood for the last 10 plus years. And that is why we feel so strongly about talking to you about using the platform Zazzle to work to get your online business to be up and running. Then you can expand, because you can use it as a launching pad, and then that builds your brand, and that builds your business, and it builds your income stream. And then you can decide if that's where you want to stay or you want to expand, because you've turned into what maybe was a side hustle or a hobby into a proper business. And we are then so excited for you, because that's what you're supposed to do, right? Keep growing, keep scaling, keep making money so that you can have that business working for you passively while you are enjoying life, which is very important. Plus, you want something that's profitable. That's the last of the 3 of my business framework. And this business is super profitable. There is very little outlay in cash, only your time, internet, and computer, and maybe some graphic design items that you want to license, if that's the case. Otherwise, there's no investment except for maybe a training course, which is something that you do know I'm offering you. But if not, then you're doing it by yourself, and that's your investment. That's what Jen and I did for years. Although we would have definitely invested in someone who was going to teach us how to get there faster. So just to keep that in mind. But that's who we are. We are here to do a profit launch party all week long.
Mhm.
And we're so excited because every one of the days will be a theme. It will coincide with our 5 strategies that we have copyrighted and trademarked because that's what we did to create our wealth on Zazzle. And now it's your turn to be able to use those if you're part of the Profit by Design Academy. We teach you step by step, walk you through videos, give you all the deets. However, we're also going to talk to you high level here in this profit launch party all week long about those 5 strategies. Really get into them, really help you understand what you need to do in order to get this business up and running and be successful, which is what we hope for you and wish for you. All right, so day 1 is establish your business, and that's because that is strategy number 1 for our strategy, our 5-step strategy. Okay, so define your niche is like what we're going to do here now, though, is we're going to break it down so that it's not just establishing your business, because that sounds really cool. Sounds like, yeah, of course I've got to establish my business, i.e., duh, Elke, of course. Otherwise, I don't have a business if I don't establish it. But what does it mean to you? And what does it mean to specifically do that on an online platform like Zazzle? Well, first of all, you have to define your niche, name your store, define your brand, and properly set up your Zazzle store. And so this is why these are all components of the establish your business strategy number 1. And let's move into a little bit more detail before we open the chat up and say, okay, well, defining your niche. What the heck is a niche? Or in some cases, the US population says niche. I don't like that, so I'm saying niche because I'm from Canada, but it means the same. Obviously, you have to define where you want to focus. An unfocused store means that customers can't relate to you, and you also are completely confused as to what to sell. So if you're trying to sell to many and you're selling many things to many people, or trying to sell to many people, even though, yeah, if it's many people and many products, guess what? It's a lot of work. It's not defined. It's diluted. No one really gets it. You'll sell here and there, but you won't skyrocket. Okay. So even though it seems like an oxymoron to do things like narrow down your niche, and the first thing that all of us think of is, but then I'll miss out on the other stuff. And it's like, no, actually, first narrow down a niche, and then you'll be able to expand ultimately after you start with something, right? It's like you still got to order a pizza. You have to decide what you're going to put on it. It's still going to be a pizza, but then next time you can order a different pizza. But first, we're going to narrow down what is on this particular pizza. So when you start your business, even though it will evolve and grow and change, first you have to establish something, right? And you have to establish something concrete and something that people will understand as well as you are very clear on what it is that you're going to sell. Because an online business is all about selling, right? So we have to have something to sell that's very clear, as well as attracting your customer. So the first thing on the list is naming your store. And you would think it would be really easy, but your name of your store actually ends up helping define your brand. And it's a way for you to attract your customer. And so between those two, defining your brand and naming your store, you're attracting that ideal customer, right? If someone said to me, my store name is hunting and fishing, and I don't care for hunting and fishing, then I'm not going to go to that store, right? So you're not attracting that me as a customer because that's not my deal. Whereas if you are saying hunting and fishing, and there's an avid hunting and fishing person who sees your store, or you do some sort of social promotion or whatever, then they're just going to resonate with you, even though you haven't even shown them what you have for sale. It's just like, oh, there's a store that's exactly what I want and where I want to shop because I'm a hunter and a fisher or whatever, fisherman or fisherwoman. And so these things are super, super important. Even though you're just starting out, you've got to name your store properly and you have to define your brand, because not only will it attract your customer, but it'll allow your customer to identify with you and your brand even though you haven't done anything for them yet, except you have. You've done something really, really huge. You have set up your store name properly and defined your brand so that not only can they be attracted to your store name, but they can be attracted and identify and emotionally connect to your brand. Then the second or the last thing here on my list is proper store setup. And even though it says establish your business and you think, well, that's actually what it all means is just set up that store and get going, start selling. But no, there's more to it than that. There's the defining your niche, naming your store, defining your brand, and then you incorporate all of that into setting up your store properly. So that also means you need to create a brand logo, you need to have a brand banner, you need to have your store homepage set up so that it reflects your brand and your niche and your name of your store. Do you see how all this is getting connected? And you have to have it set up professionally so that when customers come to your store, they get it. They get that you sell hunting and fishing goods, right? And not in weddings or something else or business cards, right? So this is very important because if there's a disconnect, then you have lost the trust and confidence of that customer even before they've gotten to any of your products. And so this is why it's strategy number one, and it's a very important key strategy, and that's why we start with this one in our teaching of the Profit by Design Academy. So now that you understand what this whole strategy is and what it entails, let's chat about it and what it means for you. This is your chance to get in here and get some coaching. Like if you have any questions on any of this, how you can define your niche, how to name your store, how to define your brand, what does defining your brand mean, what does proper setup mean, we are here to talk about that today so that you can understand what you need and also just get a better sense of what's involved, right? So I'm going to just stop the screen share and we will move into the chat. And until the clock strikes 3 Eastern Standard Time, we are here for you, unless there's no more questions. And I can't wait to hear and see, or well, I can't hear you, but can't wait to see what you've posted in the Facebook group so that we can really get into some discussion. As you can tell, we are always excited to talk business. What we want you to do, though, is be really honest with yourself and don't just say, well, if I ask this question, I'll feel like I'm stupid because I should already know that. That's the whole point. If you did, you would have an incredibly profitable business if you had everything set up the way you do in your store. There's 3-4 more strategies to go, but anything to do with setting up your store properly, establishing your business is definitely important, and there has to be some questions. So let's move into that. We're not going to do store critiques, just so you know. This is all discussion here on top level. What do I need to do? What does it involve? Why is it important? Okay, so that's just to let that you yeah, so Delene, for example, she says, I need to define my brand. And Delene's actually really a sweetheart. She's working really hard on everything. But see, what you have to do is say a little bit more to yourself, Delene, because I've heard you say that a couple of times. So you're not taking action. What you need to do now is say, how do I define my brand? What's involved? What decisions do I have to make? So we can definitely talk about that here if you'd like, in terms of, but you have to start the conversation and say things like, this is what I like doing. This is where I am best in terms of design skills. This is where I love doing things for hours. And this is what I do as a hobby or an interest. Then how does that all move together and create my brand and niche? Then we can come up with, oh, you could probably do a brand and niche for this, right? That's the kind of coaching we want to do. We are here to help you, but we ask the questions, you fill in the answers, and you'll end up working yourself into your own answer, because that's really the most important thing, because then it's also the one that's the most strong and has the most affinity to you as a person, and you can run with it. Okay. You're pronouncing niche according to California style. Really? Okay, that's cool. Okay, Patricia says we are pronouncing it properly in a way. Okay, so let's see. Do we have anything on?
Well, above, I think everybody was just saying
Oh, just saying
hi.
hi. Okay.
Um,
All right. So we've got a couple now that are coming through. Awesome. While we're waiting, sometimes we'll slip in a few more teaching moments, but we would love to do the teaching moments by using your examples so that we can help you specifically, because that's what coaches do. Okay, so in my store, Susan Mingay Designs, my customers are telling me what my niche should be, and every time I try to go outside that niche, I sell something that tells me no. Okay, or you sell something that tells you no?
my
Okay,
customers are telling me what my niche should be. Do you
okay.
mean that when you sell something, then that's sort of an indication of
Oh,
market
okay.
research?
Oh, got it. Okay. So I think it's just a spelling mistake or something, because if you sell something that's outside of your niche, then your niche expands, right? That's the whole point. And I think that's what you're trying to say. Um, yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah. So this is actually really great because your niche, as I said at the beginning, your niche starts with something, right? You have to make a decision. But
Mm-hmm.
then when you are trying things out in your store, and that's the cool part about Zazzle, is you can try things out without having to pay for ads to get there, or be specifically only doing something that a licensing agent wants you to do for a particular store or brand. So you can try things out. And even though you're sticking 90% of the time to your brand with your products that you're creating, when you ask for, or you just sort of play, I guess is the word I'm looking for, then, and something sells, it's awesome, right? Then you all of a sudden realize, oh, I could also do designs in this area because they're selling.
She wrote, they are not buying outside of my niche.
Oh, okay. I'm working on it. Okay, so it says I sell something that tells me. Okay, awesome. Thank you for correcting me. But it's still true what I said, that if you do have a sale that's outside of your niche, then your niche becomes that new niche or niche. Whereas if you're not selling outside of your niche, then you're very clear that you should keep to that niche that you already have. It either works either way, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what are some of the other questions?
Okay, now we have Melanie. I like to design with my photographs and also graphic design. This is new to me though. I feel like they are different niches and keep getting hung up on that. How do I define my brand if I offer both photo and fun graphic designs?
Okay, Melanie, what's your store?
And
And
also, if you're, are you, what kind of graphic designs are you pulled towards? Is it more like completely different, or is it something to do with maybe not photography, but if it's something similar in terms of the style? I want to speak because this is the one big problem that a lot of designers have on Zazzle, is that they're worried about the fact that their store isn't going to look cohesive because they're designing all over the place, or they have one really big interest, but then all of a sudden they find something more interesting that they like, or they find that they need to pivot and change according to the trends too. For example, with face masks, I've made face masks that haven't really, like, they're just text-based, but I don't really do too many text-based designs, or I don't have face masks, I don't really do apparel. But because you need to pivot, which we've told many of you to do based on coronavirus, you need to make sure that you're making the right business decisions. Sometimes your products aren't always going to fit in with your normal niche that you think of, because I'm normally in stationery. But what I do is I make the designs that I've made on face masks, for example, fit towards my style. So it's very girly, it's fun, it's, it goes with how I design throughout my entire products. If you have a photography store, but then you're doing graphic design, and your graphic design is very like your photography, let's say, are landscapes, but then your graphic design is very modern or text based, and it's very big and bold and just, modern in your face, like very hard lines or geometrical shapes, whatever. And there's
and
two
lots of
different,
jokes or something like that.
yeah,
Yeah.
and they don't really fit together. Then maybe you could play around with opening up another store. But also you want to make sure that you're able to commit to it. Because what we always tell our students, and we recommend to all of Zazzle designers, is focus on establishing your store first, and establishing it from the roots, and making sure that everything is built up properly with the good foundations. Because if you are opening up multiple different stores because you're all excited to try different things or go into a different path. But then at the end, you have multiple different stores that you're not able to commit to or take care of, then they kind of go by the wayside. And then you forget to do, like, as in the Profit by Design Academy, we go through all of the steps that you need to do in terms of branding and creating your store properly. And a lot of the stores that you create, like if you create multiple stores, sometimes you forget certain elements and your store doesn't look professional. You're not creating brand recognition. So you're actually doing yourself a disservice by creating multiple stores if you're not able to commit to it. So this is why you really have to figure out, okay, what's working for me? What's really at my core? What do I want to work on for and commit to? What do I enjoy designing? What can I offer my customer? And how can I give it my all? Because if you are starting to design graphic design because you see everybody else on Zazzle doing graphic design, but it's not really your strong point, I'm not telling you, Melanie, that it's not okay for you. I'm just saying if you're just doing it because of whatever reason you see other people doing it, maybe it's not for you. Maybe photography is actually the better way, or maybe actually graphic design is. But you really want to make sure that at the beginning you figure out what feels right for you. Like, what's your gut feeling? What's your gut check? And
Mhm.
if you want to do both, then I would try and see if you can flow the two designs together so that it looks good in your store, or you have complementing, like for example, if you're a photographer, I know I'm rambling on, but I think it's a good point for
It's
people to,
lots of people ask this question over and over again.
if you're a photographer and you like doing landscape photography, but you also want to get into graphic design, then do graphic design that's relating to photography. So then or like, not where you design a photograph of a landscape, but do something to do with, being a photographer or travel or quotes or something that can flow nicely with what you have in terms of your photographs. So.
And if your graphic designs are more like, if they're specific, like really specific, like weddings or business related, then if you can't meld the two, at least in like the photography as well as the graphic design text-based items, if you can't meld those somewhat under an umbrella, like we already covered your store, right? What is your store name? I've forgotten.
She's got,
I think it was further down, right?
Here.
Because I think it's, yes, it's something that can go together, right? So right now you can put it under, yeah, you said by Fine Design, which is fine. You can do both, right? That's a nice umbrella. If you said Melanie Fine Photography as your store name, that's not going to happen, right? It's too much to then go into like weddings or stationery. But you've got a wonderful overreaching store name, and all you have to do is keep posting all these different products in there. You can showcase with your categories, some more so than others. And then only once you start, like, just keep adding them and adding them, because that's what you're doing right now. You're testing, you're checking it out, seeing whether or not something works or doesn't work. And if it doesn't work, then you are, you have your answer, right? Then you don't do that anymore. Otherwise, if you do have like a sale, or you see more views, then you know that that's where you're heading to. And then at some point when we come to your homepage, you might have more photography, or you might have more graphic design based items. I still sell photography. I still sell artwork. I have different ways that I sell that, but it's just not that evident to someone who comes to my store or stores. And that doesn't mean that that's not possible for you, but we have to start you somewhere. And I think you, with your one store, are perfect. Do your photography, do your graphic design based items, see where it leads to. And it's just a matter of how you play with them on the homepage. And that's easily done, because you can just even change it out every so often with your banner and with your store categories.
Mm-hmm. Okay, we've got lots of stuff, so we have to watch out for the time.
Let's go.
Okay.
Christopher, are we going to go this way?
That's the last next.
Okay.
We just keep on scrolling down after that.
Okay, so is naming a store Gifts by Chris too generic and not niche enough? It is too generic. Back about 7 years ago, that would have been an awesome name. But we are getting a little bit more, like, as a whole population of e-commerce designers and sellers, we're getting a little bit more clever because unless you have like Chris, your name Chris is specific for, like, you have a huge following, like, like Kate Spade or some, or Oprah,
Calvin Klein.
Calvin Klein,
Yeah.
but like even single names like Oprah, then that would be okay. But otherwise, I would say pick your niche. I know you're the, no, Chris Jones is not the clarinet, or is it? Or is
I
I'm
think
starting to
maybe,
learn.
yes.
I'm starting to learn what everyone's names are and how they relate to their stores. I
Yeah.
usually think of the stores first, so I apologize if I haven't figured that out yet. But yeah, if you want something more generic, rather do, like, I think your music, right? So music lovers or something like that might be better.
He says yes. Yeah.
Okay, so that might be a better overreaching thing for you rather than just Chris's gifts, because you don't want to just stick to gifts. Maybe you want apparel, and like, it doesn't always have to be a gift, and a gift actually narrows you down inadvertently the wrong way, because then you always have to do gifts. What if you want to do something business related, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there are a lot of music teachers out there that want to have clarinets on their business cards. So believe me, you are limiting yourself. So go bigger.
Yeah.
Okay, Ramona, go for it.
I will be selling flamingo, hippie, and bohemian themed products. I want to sell them all in one store. Is this range too broad? Not at all.
Nope.
I think actually all of those fit quite nicely together. And a lot of Zazzle designers do like hippie and bohemian themed products, and you just work it in with the theme and the feel.
Good
So
to
yeah.
go.
Barbara says, I'm a cartoonist. I want to specialize in greeting cards and gifts with my cartoons. How do I choose a niche without pigeonholing my greeting cards?
Yes, good question. First of all, greeting cards are one-offs. So when you start to learn more about our strategy, you will find that that is one option for a product, but that's not going to get you to 5,000 a month, and we need to expand. So definitely consider that when you're deciding on what it is you want to focus in on your product suite. We are talking more about that on day 3. And since you're a Profit by Design Academy course member, I'm definitely, you're going to know all about that very soon. You'll know, and you already have a really cool name, and you're an amazing artist, so you're all set to go. You will definitely brand out, like, understand what that means more so when you're in the course. Okay.
Liz says, I like different styles and colors, so should I just pick one? I like modern, but vintage also. Dark colors, but light ones also. I'm confused. And this is Liz from last week, and I remember that she thought that, and Melissa, correct me if I'm wrong, but she was worried that vintage is out of style.
Yeah,
and I said,
not your vintage. You didn't really, you had really beautiful choices of your vintage. It was more modern. Yeah.
So, and this is coming from my own personal experience, I mix vintage and modern together, but I make it my own. And so for you as a designer, I think unless you don't have an entire store all of vintage like photos
from 1920.
Yeah. And when you come to your storefront, it's all vintage, and you're like, I'm in an antique shop. If it's not like that, then you can actually mix vintage and modern in a very trendy way, especially if you look at blogs, depending on what niche you're in. But if you're, especially for the weddings, if you're in the wedding niche, then vintage is very trendy, and they mix and match, and you have modern and vintage all together. So don't worry about the fact that you have to be all vintage or all modern. I think it should just be the style that you come forth and you bring through, and the feeling that you get. Is it, like, as you said, light and dark? Dark and light can be very different, but you have to have like either a whimsical, a happy feel, or you be like stark and modern, black and white, minimalistic. That might be a little bit more of a way that you can define yourself. And which one are you attracted more to? Are you attracted to the more, clean lines, dark and light and dark, minimalistic, like very little color? Or do you want, happy vintage, sort of lots of color and watercolors and vibrant colors and etc. So maybe that helps a little bit. But I know that a lot of us have problems with figuring out what we like first. And I think that that's what we should focus on, because that's the things that we're attracted to. Those are the magazines we're going to read. Those are the blog posts that we're going to read. Sort of to
get all our research for who our customer is. Keep going, Elizabeth, or Liz. You're gonna figure it out, because we were in the same boat, and then at some point you just go, okay, I'm going to choose, because it can always still change. If you see our brand's from, and 2008, 2009,
Yeah.
and you work your way through all the years. We wish we would have kept pictures of those, but we do see and remember some of the images, and because of that, it's very clear that even though we have the same name for our store, for example, our logos have changed, our color scheme has changed, our font style has changed, because we are also evolving and adapting to what's going on right now, right? So if you
Mm-hmm.
like, it's almost better to say, I like both, because that means you're more flexible and you can change with the times and
Yeah.
resonate more with your customer that you're trying to attract right now.
She actually just said, because I have actually Googled modern vintage, and that's for like what I like to do too. So she says modern vintage is an actual thing.
It
Try
is.
Googling it. I
Yeah.
like it a lot. So if that feels good to you, then
Yeah.
go for it.
Yeah.
Because nowadays, and I know this is getting a little bit off topic, but this is why I'm so adamant about like, what magazines do you read? What kind of things do you, when you are in store, what kind of stuff are you attracted to? What kind of clothing do you wear? What colors do you like? This is who you are at your core, and this is what you're familiar with, what you can bring to your customers. You're so much better at providing a service or doing somebody a favor, or giving somebody a gift when it comes from your heart, and that you know how to make it, or what kind of things go into it, versus if you were told to do something that you have no idea about, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
You
And
always look so
and
focused.
because I'm already thinking, because it's really cool to see the trend, because Jennifer and I have been in this business for over 10 years. When we used to do, if someone said vintage to us 7 years ago, it would have been clearly anybody who took anything that was copyright free from all those old, vintage books, old ads from newspapers, and like the soap box ads and things like that,
Mhm.
and all the interesting botanicals and so on, and old greeting cards, right? The old beautiful Christmas and birthday cards and they just took photographs of that, and then they put them on whatever products that Zazzle offered. And that then went out of style a couple of years later. And now it's coming back into style, but only as modern vintage. And that wasn't even a phrase back in the day. So that's why it's okay. Just pick something now, but make sure it fits with today's interests from a customer, and then go with that. But I will, you've heard it just right here from me, and expect that down the road, that you will definitely have things change on you, and you are flexible enough on your Zazzle business with all the things and tools that are available, that you can easily switch out your logo, and you can easily start making a few new products that trend to a different area or to a different niche. So this is part of the evolution of your brand. Look at Coca-Cola, although it's very interesting, even though Coca-Cola has had its same lettering, because they actually have their own font named after their letters, but everything around it, their advertising, their branding, has gone from, that vintage to modern. It's still Coca-Cola. So you are going to set up the name of your store as your core, and don't believe that you are only a small business and that you're never going to mean something. Pretend you're Coca-Cola, pretend you're big, pretend you're McDonald's, pretend you're something huge, and make sure that you give it your value so that you can let it grow that big. That's what's
Mhm.
really important. Okay, so Deline says, I find it so difficult because I tend to lean towards watercolor, florals, vintage art, grunge. My shop is a mishmash of all kinds of designs. I don't know where to go from here. My tropical plant designs are very popular. Well, Deline, you've just defined what your brand and niche is. And the only person who's actually not clear on what it is you, obviously, because you're still having a difficulty, but you're just not giving yourself permission to allow that to be your brand. That's if you would have said, I like watercolor florals and goth, and even maybe those two could fit together, or I like watercolor florals and anything just to do with sports, even those could fit together, right? Because you could put really cool watercolor florals on anything to do with sports, which Zazzle sells a lot of stuff with regard to sports and things. So you are the only one that is holding yourself back at this point. The only thing that you might be thinking is it's a mishmash of products. You don't know how they fit together, but then that's just because you don't know quite yet. Like you're maybe hoping for that one big thing that ties it all together. It's never going to be that way. You're going to have a couple of products that sell in different areas which you're interested in, and whatever you love to do, that's what you should keep doing, even if it's 5 different things, but they all kind of fit together in a niche or a brand. So you're actually not having trouble. You are just making trouble for yourself just because you've got this, girl. You've got this. You're crushing it already. You're selling, and you're like tropical plants, watercolor florals, vintage grunge. That's all together in modern vintage. You're good. And even though you've got botanicals in there, vintage was botanicals as well. So you're all good to go. I think you're fine.
Okay. Yeah, we're high up here.
Okay, let's go.
Okay.
Cassie.
I'm the same. So many things that I do is a mismatch of mine, and then the designs I get as a part of a paid subscription for a service and for images to use commercially. I do photography and mixed media and digital art.
Well, those all fit together. Okay, so you're going to keep expanding into the niches of Zazzle as a marketplace because you don't even know yet what they are going to offer as new products. We don't know. We started and there were maybe, I don't know, 500 products. Now there's thousands of products and thousands, hundreds of different niches. And so as you go, it expands. The only thing is maybe for you is to feel like you're not as, like maybe you just have to organize your store a little bit more to feel like you've got it under control. But you want those things out there. You want that to be able to see if it'll sell, right? That's the main thing. But you don't have to have those as your focus. And like on your store homepage, the most important thing is to realize that you do not have to show everyone every single product in your store and show them everything you're doing. You just have to have a very good front to your store. So you decide, is your photography a category? Is your abstract a category? Is your mixed media a category? That's what I would do. And then that way it's all really nicely set up for you in a way that you are the person who's creating all of this. And then if they want mixed media, they go to that store category. If they want abstract art, they go to the other store category. So you're good. It's just a matter of setting up your store. And Cassie, you're in
the ECA
e-commerce accelerator. So we show you how to do that in the e-commerce accelerator. Have another look at that, and that might help you.
Okay. Lee says, I know that you've said that our store name is a bit problematic, Home Lifestyles, but we have had it for over a year and have linked a website, Instagram, and a Facebook page with that name. So what do you recommend? It seems a lot to start over. What do you recommend? I understand.
You know what? The thing is that you aren't doing home and lifestyles. You are doing some, but not everything. And so that's misleading. So I think in your case, I do agree that with my previous statement that you need to fix that and figure out a different name, even if it's just adding to it something like the home lifestyles is what's misleading. If it was Leah or LH designs or something more generic, then you could move forward, right? You said you were stuck and you wanted to move forward and make your business grow. This is one of the reasons why, unfortunately, just so that you are not stuck with your own limitation through your store. And it's so generic that people don't get it, even though L&H designs is generic, but it is identifiable. Whereas the other thing is a description of a lifestyle, but not, it's a generality. And so that's not helping you. It's kind of like gifts from Chris or something, or Chris's gifts. Those don't serve a purpose because customers can't identify with that as specifically as something else. So you're in the program. Why don't we talk more off chat here, because this is a public space and we want to help you as a student of the Profit by Design Academy. Mm-hmm. Okay, what else have we got?
Everybody says thank you. I scrolled down a bunch, but everyone is really happy with the advice that we've given. So the next one that we have got here is This Is Not Me. Although categories are primarily for customer navigation, is one of the main secondary uses for us to organize our products so that we can create collections for upselling.
Yay, yay, that's so good. Yes, you have figured it out. Yes, definitely.
Okay, then modern vintage, awesome. Ramona says thank you. Liz says thanks. Then we've got some more people joining us. Welcome everyone who just came on.
Jolene says, I'm amazed at what I've been overlooking. Yes, and that's what coaches do. We see it from a different perspective and we help you out. Even though it seemed really obvious to us, it's not always obvious to the person who's right in there trying their best, doing their best, working so hard. And that's what we're here to do as coaches. It's not an easy task because we have to have lots of years of experience, but we can see it from an outside perspective. And then it just gives you like this big sigh of relief. It's like, oh my gosh, now I feel so much better, right?
Yes. So Nelda says, I found my real niche by adding on to my sales. Every time something sold, I made 5 more like it or 5 complementary products. No one was more surprised than me when it started to make sense.
Yes, that was an exercise that we did in the Profit by Design Academy a long time ago, and it's working for you, Nelda. Awesome.
Yes.
Yes, Nelda is one of our amazing success stories.
Robert is, I always have problems with the internet. Well, welcome, Robert, if you can hear us. We're glad to have you here. Okay, then Delene says, oh, she's replying to somebody else. Okay. So Familia Fisher says, most of my sales were for occasions. Main niche was religious events. Second niche is weddings. Only 8% of my sales were not for occasions. Now my sales decreased drastically from about 300 US to, in February to 18 in April. Should I continue in my niches and wait for better times or search another to sell now?
What do you want it to say? Do you want to do that one?
You can talk and then I'll come in. I have to read it again actually, because when I'm reading out loud, I don't actually
process. Oh, okay. I get it. Okay. So have you, Familia Fisher, have you added things in the in your occasion section, excuse me, that have anything to do with all the changes that are happening to all the people that had events that are now canceled and postponed? Because if you didn't, then that's the reason why all of our students were taught that and told that, to be very aware of things that are happening and being taught how to pivot. And by having their business set up and the way we teach them how to look at niches and do this monthly routine, they were able to pivot very fast. And they are now profiting from that, and their occasions are actually selling really well. So it's not sometimes and we're doing that in day 5 in terms of analysis. You have to have the surrounding evidence and proof. So if you did pivot, then maybe you're not as like skilled at figuring out the designs for this change of like postpone occasion kind of a niche, which is a niche really. But if you didn't have those products, then that was the reason. And therefore, you shouldn't look at your sales as being decreased as a reason why you shouldn't be in occasions. It should be that at this point in time, you need to serve that occasion's niche better with your own designs, and you can then move back into occasions after this gets back to normal. No, and we're sorry to hear that you have such few sales, but that's probably what happened.
E-commerce is booming right now, but we have to make sure that we understand the trends that are happening, and that's exactly what we talk about in the Profit by Design Academy, and then also to our higher level coaching students, where we go really in depth in terms of showing them how to pivot and to create different products, because there are people buying things online. It's just different things at this point in time.
Okay.
So Lillian says, listening to you talk about niches, I'm beginning to realize a niche isn't as limiting as I originally thought.
Yes.
I think as long as I follow my heart and not chase after trends, it will all blend together. Yes. That's
wonderful.
What we want to express to everybody is that yes, things can be trending, but I'm like, for example, I'm not the type of person who's going to go and listen to the newest hip hop reggae song because it's on the radio all the time. You know, I like my specific type of music, and I'm going to follow that I'm going to listen to that music for the rest of my life. But if you are looking at Zazzle and you see that there's so many people who are making designs and there's a specific trend that's on the homepage of Zazzle, it doesn't particularly mean that you're not able to make money if you're not doing those products. There are so many people in the back end that you don't see who are making thousands of dollars on specific products because they're properly designed, they have good titles and tags, and they're part of a specific niche
and targeted a customer.
And
targeted. Yeah, no, I'm just like, it's just, I'm not saying that you haven't said it yet. It's just like, it's just so obvious to us right now, but it's not so obvious to you yet.
So if you think that, if you go onto the Zazzle homepage and you see that everything that's trending is girly pastel colors or even face masks, like if you're totally against making face masks right now, which I completely understand because you might have this really weird feeling with it, it doesn't mean that you're not going to be able to make money on Zazzle. It means that you have to create something different that works with you as a designer, works with at your core, and also what you can bring to the plate to serve your customers in your own unique way. And I said face masks as an example because some people might have a really weird relationship with this right now, that you feel like you're profiting over coronavirus, which we're not, like you are serving the customer. So if you are okay with that, then you're able to make money on face masks. But if that doesn't fit with who you are or doesn't fit with your niche, there are so many other ways that you can make money on Zazzle.
Yeah, we're selling a lot more stuff besides face masks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, then Delene says you're so right. Then we're at the end of the comments. Awesome. So Familia says, I added postpone wedding, but I didn't sell. It just depends. If you are already working on making those types of products, that's awesome. Then you just have to figure out how else you can work on other different products, or maybe work on your titles and tags, or just keep on designing those products because they are selling. They're not selling as much as a normal wedding would because people are either deciding not to, they're postponing things. Yeah, it all depends. Right now is a very weird time in terms of customer buying history. But did we stop? What happened there?
You have to refresh. Yeah.
Hopefully we're still online.
If I refresh, am I going to cancel it? Or?
It looked like we.
There we go.
But
Suzanne just put a comment in.
Okay. So it looks like we're online still, but if you are able to profit from making, what's going on here? I want to make sure that we're still on live. The internet's been funky. So if anyone has any other questions, then please let us know. And I'm having problems. Yeah, I think we cut, something happened. We're at 14 people online when we were at 39 a second ago.
Yeah, we're gone.
Maybe we end the thing and then we restart it. What happened? The video crashed. Lost connection. Which is weird because we're still on here. Can you see us now? Maybe that's... Yep. I don't know. Are we still on? Yeah. Okay, so if you're still on, we lost connection for a second there and now we're back on live, which is really funky. So hello, everybody. Welcome back.
You're back. Okay, good. We're back.
Awesome.
That's awesome. Yeah, I don't know what happened. Maybe like a little power glitch or something, because we didn't do anything on our end. We just lost connection, and everyone's saying you're back. That's awesome because that means you're back too. Okay, good. So Jen was in the middle of saying something. We'll wait for some people to come back on. Woo, look at that. Just went right back up to all the numbers we had before. Awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
And Robert says gone again, but we're still on. Poor Robert. Okay, awesome. Everyone's saying yes. Okay, you were in the middle of saying something about.
Well, I was just if you're not like what
Suzanne. Oh, just before you start though, I did see a comment that Suzanne is donating all her profits from the face masks to food banks or charities, which is awesome. So if you do have a way to, if you want to make some profit from that, then you can definitely do something to make you feel better about your profiting from something that has to do with coronavirus.
And if you're not seeing sales right away after switching or pivoting, so for example, if your niche is wedding invitations or celebrations, and then you have figured out that you need to change things, if you're not seeing sales right away, then just think of it that we're in a very weird time right now. People, you're not going to see sales tomorrow if you've created a product today. You need to obviously build up the foundations, and you have needed to figure out how to transition properly. Maybe Familia Fisher created these products months ago when she realized that coronavirus was going to start happening, and or she created them yesterday and she's not seeing sales. You have to look at it that way, and then also be patient. This is a time where if you've built up your business properly, like what we've done in the Profit by Design Academy, all of our students who implemented the 5 strategies, they are seeing so many great results, and they're seeing so many sales because they've put in the 5 strategies and used our teaching and our coaching to help them cushion their way through this. We didn't know it. We didn't predict coronavirus, but we definitely always tell our students a very good, solid foundation of how to set up their Zazzle business so that things like this that do happen in society don't affect them as much, and they are seeing the results of that. So yeah,
that's it. And the other thing that's important is Jennifer made postpone event occasion cards. I did the same day. We made our own designs. Jen's are selling, mine are not. Sometimes that's just the way it is on Zazzle. So you can't give up. You have to monitor that. That's day 5. And then you have to say, hey, that one didn't work. Let's try something new. One or like a couple of tries, even like for me, even like hundreds of tries never ever worked. Whereas the 101 tried gave me so much money because over the last 10 years, it's sold and sold and sold and sold. So be careful when you say your limit is, right? You have to keep working. You have to keep convincing yourself that this will work at some point. I just haven't hit the sweet spot yet. Okay, so what else?
Okay, well, let's see.
Yeah, all of those are just refresh.
Maria says, Maria's part of our Profit by Design Academy. She's a student. She's a new student. She says, I'm relatively new to Zazzle, Suki's workshop, trying to find my niche. My designs are more bold colors. I made some face masks, haven't sold any of them yet. And little by little, I'm adding more products to my categories and connections. I have sold 1 wrapping paper. Awesome. Awesome.
It's a start. Yes, I saw that in the post. We have this wonderful community where you can post all your successes, even if it's only wrapping paper. And I don't mean like, and by saying that is even only, that to you means maybe even only. To me, it's her 29-cent button that I made. Like I made a button for 29 cents. I was running around the house so excited. And that's because it's the start, right? And you have to start somewhere, and you have to start selling. So you with your niche, please don't worry about it so much. Put some stuff up there, get your feet wet. That's what the next couple of weeks of the Profit by Design Academy are all about. We actually make you try different things. We make you try occasions. We make you try photography, artwork, graphic designs. Get your like designing skills up and running, and then you can say, man, I like doing that, or oh man, no, I don't want to do any more of those. Because part of what you're doing is you're also finding out what you love. Because when you love what you're doing, that it will show through in those designs, and customers will be able to see that. Your products are 3 like very, very tiny thumbnails. If that design does not resonate with that customer with that tiny little thumbnail, which means you have to bring like solid design skills to the mix and or resonate with that customer, then you are not going to sell that product. That's the whole thing. That's what we're going to teach you how to do in the Profit by Design Academy. And so you have to love doing that, and you have to have that design come through so that you can make that connection. As weird as that sounds, that's what it is. 3 seconds to make a connection. What about Instagram, right? You're scrolling through, or you're scrolling through your Facebook posts. 3 seconds if most, and you stop at a picture that you find interesting and or tweaks your interest, that resonates with you. That's what we're going to teach you how to do to make sales in the Profit by Design Academy. Okay, so just keep going. Don't be so hard on yourself right now.
Okay, so Karen says,
it's like Jennifer's going, is she done? Karen, I just want to do the best I can to help you. Okay, but we are going up to the hours, so we're going to cut it off with this comment.
Nelda was very graciously told us about her strategy about how to create the products when she sold them. So Karen's asking her, based on what Nelda said in terms of creating more products based on her sales. Because yeah,
Okay.
so she just wants to say, did I get this right? When I create a spiral notebook and it sells, should I create 5 different products with the same text design on it, or 5 different products with the spiral notebooks with more sayings on them, or both?
Or both. That's
In
the
terms of creating more products, just like we teach you how to create specific products to go along with your store in the Profit by Design Academy. We tell you very specific strategies that have worked for us in terms of what sells and then why it's selling and what you should focus on. If you are like, in terms of what your store is and what your niche is, think about what products will go well with your customer base, right? And which ones you are going to build up your store with. If you say both, then that's awesome. Just make sure that you're not wasting your time and creating 10 different versions of one spiral notebook because you think that it'll sell. No?
Yeah, yeah. If spiral notebooks are things that your customer avatar is interested in, make more notebooks.
Mm-hmm.
And if yeah, it, it's not a set rule. It's based on a lot of parameters,
Mm-hmm.
and that's why we empower you and teach you what those parameters are, so that you can be your own best like decision maker. But we can't just off the cuff, without seeing the designs, without seeing your store, without seeing what your interests are, without seeing your abilities and your artistic skills, without seeing any of those things. I like playing castanets here. That's literally what we need to do. Is you have to bring all that to the table, and then you will realize, oh, okay, I should make these in 4 different colors, or oh, I'm going to make different sayings. And one day you can make both options, or you make one option one day and one option the next day. See what happens. This is all part of the strategy. That includes day 5, when we talk about analysis and then seeing what works and seeing what doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we have to cut it short soon because we're almost at an hour, but we did start a little late. So do we have any more questions? No?
Donna just says, thank you so much. Had more sales because I'm following what Elke and Jen are teaching.
Yes.
Awesome. Oh yes, that strategy fit into your whole program, which is why I'm not giving it away. And each person is, as we teach in the Profit by Design Academy and the higher level coaching, each person has a different strategy tailored to their own store as well. They take our teachings, and then what works for Nelda won't work for me, or what we're like.
That's what I said before.
Yeah.
Like I did the same thing, and Jen sold, I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
And like I should sell because yeah, all things reasonable should indicate that I should sell, but I didn't, and that's just the way it is sometimes.
Yeah, but we take what we do know and what we've gone through in terms of our trial and error over the years that we've been on Zazzle, and we give you the tools that you need to apply it to your own store. Yeah, with Karen, I know that she mentioned she can't be part of the Profit by Design Academy right now. We would love to have you in there so that we can teach you faster, but at this point you have to do it by trial and error on your own and figure out what works for you.
Yeah, and you've already got that strategy. You now can go ahead. See, you're questioning which one's going to be the best, and you're limiting yourself. Why not do both?
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's the whole point. Is if you are trying on your own, you have to test more than one theory. And so you've got your strategy now for now, and see what happens. Okay, thank you so much for watching and being part of our launch the Profit launch party. I'm getting used to the name because we just made it up, and it says, oh my God, it's a blessing how generous you are. Oh, well, thank you so much, Barbara. We do our best. We try very hard to make sure that every one of you can be empowered to move forward. Some of you can do it on your own. Some of you need help, and we are here to help you if that's the case. And so we would love to see you in the Profit by Design Academy. It is starting today. We had the most amazing session to start the day off, and we are going to open the enrollment for another week, and then we're done until maybe September. So I can't guarantee that. Plus the price is going to go up the next time we enroll students. So if you want a reduced price, coronavirus special, and if you want to have the access to all this training now, for me personally, as a student who is not in the Profit by Design Academy right now, I would be like, have a big fear of missing out, because there's so many people, even me, I'm going like, oh my gosh, I've got to get my act together because I'm not in all the niches that I want to be in and do all the work I want to be part of. Like I consider Zazzle to be like this printing press of money because it's just phenomenal. When you have your store set up, you have your products and your niche figured out, and you start to create your own designs and offer those to people. Those people come and are attracted to you. There are shoppers out there right now that want certain things, especially ones that are unique and different, so that they can feel special and unique and different, and feel like it's worthy of their expense that they're using, right? Because they may not have as much cash to spend on things, but they're going to buy more meaningful products. And so this is the most amazing time in history. And it's so weird that I'm saying that, but it truly is the case for anyone who's on Zazzle, because if they follow the 5 strategies and they provide the customer with unique, amazing, high quality designs that maybe are customizable, but maybe are just unique, like artwork and photography, those students are selling. And that's the most important thing right now. I cannot have a better set of testimonials. It's like, I'm not sitting here going like, could you please buy my course because, it's a good course. No, it's like all the students in the course are selling even better than sometimes we are on certain days. It's like, oh my gosh, this is so amazing. Right.
Or they're selling in like specific niches that they like that have come out of nowhere because of coronavirus, or the strategies that we've given them months back they've implemented, and now they're seeing, as I said, they're building up the cushions for their business so that when things happen like this where you have a huge problem in society, they're still making the money that they expected to make.
Yes.
Which is really great, because I know that a lot of people, and maybe even you, if you're just starting out on Zazzle, you're unfortunately in a situation where you're worried about your future income. And right now, at least what we can do as mentors and coaches is give you the tools that you need to start to build up your Zazzle business, so that in the future, maybe not next week where you're making more money, but in the next couple of months, you're able to start to see results, and then actually be a little bit more certain in your situation right now, especially financially, and also positive mindset too, because when you start to build something and when you're making sales, or you see that email for 29 cents, even though it's only 29 cents, you get this sort of, what is it? Not endorphins, but it's like this
That's
positive.
awesome.
You feel so good about yourself, and you say, I can do this. And then you just go for the next step and the next step. And when you're in the community with us in the Profit by Design Academy, the people who are our students, they are just so positive, and they keep you going. They cheer you on every single morning. I wake up and there are notifications in the Facebook group of everybody just giving such positive vibes and celebrating successes and giving advice, and just that movement of everyone interacting with each other is just amazing as well. So.
Yeah, it's definitely a wonderful community to be part of right now. I mean, it's not the reason to buy and enroll in the course, but it certainly helps, because part of implementing all the strategies, one of the strategies is mindset. And so you have to be in that right mindset. If right now you're like really being affected by all of your other surroundings, then this is also part of the entire package that we provide even before coronavirus, because we feel so strongly that you need to have that support and coaching and like basically mentoring to help you see it from another perspective, or just to come on and say, hey, I just got inspired because someone else sold something, or you posted in the group and said, I need a little bit of help with this, and then someone was right there to help you. That's the kind of thing that allows you to stop worrying about the small obstacles, even though you make them large, and to move forward and get those big things done so that you can start to see big results. So thank you so much for watching. We will see you tomorrow at 2 p.m. for day 2 of the Profit Launch Party with Jen and Elke Clarke.
Yes, and we are covering, what are we covering?
Oh, tomorrow is create your product suite. And that is huge, because some of the questions that were asked today are already touching on that, but we're going to get into that in more detail tomorrow. Thank you so much for being part of our Profit Launch Party today. And we can't wait for you to come and see us tomorrow.
Okay, bye.